So pit, oh yeah, Yins are crazy. This is it right here, Yins are crazy.
Yo, 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 what is up, Yinzer Nation? Welcome to our latest episode of YINZERITAS, your new favorite Pittsburgh show, brought to you by YINZERCrazy.com. I am Jane, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Taylor. And today we are so excited for our episode. We have so many good things planned. We are going to be talking about the draft, and we have a super, super special guest today who will be joining us here shortly. Two-time Super Bowl champion, Bryant McFadden. I personally know I am pumped to talk to him, hear his thoughts about the draft, and kind of, what's going on in his world. Taylor, I know you are just as excited as I am.
For sure.
So excited. I can't wait to hear kind of a little bit his thoughts on the draft, being ex-NFL player, being so involved in sports betting and all of his shows and podcasts. I'm really excited to hear his perspective.
Yes, and I think overall, we had such a great year in terms of the draft. Everybody always has their critiques, but none of us are GM, thank goodness, probably. So
God,
we of course. Yeah, I know, but we've seen a pretty good turnout this year. I know I was super pleasantly surprised that Najee Harris was actually there for us in the first round. My whole mind was set on building the line out because I wasn't sure if he'd be available. And, here he is.
Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh. Crazy that 6 guys were drafted this year, leading the ACC, which was really cool. I mean, they had a good variation of teams. I was super pumped. Love Jimmy Morrissey. So happy to see him go for the Raiders. Really excited to see him play and, see where the rest of his career goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. And sorry, guys, my boyfriend is a Bengals fan. I know, gross, but his secondary team is the Bills. So we were happy to see a local guy go to the Bills with Camlin. So overall, I'm just as excited as you are, and I can't wait to see their success. I know Penn State, thinking about us getting Pat Freiermuth, is such a huge accomplishment. Second best tight end in the draft. Talk about a great pickup, even if, some of us personally were looking for line in the second round. We got it taken care of. All is good.
All really is good. Speaking of all is good, today is Cinco de Mayo. I'm enjoying a beer right now. I hope you're having a beverage, or hopefully after this, enjoying a cold drink of some sort.
Oh, you know it. Margaritas tonight for sure.
Margaritas, chips, and salsa. I'm here for it. So on that note, I am more than excited to introduce our guest, two-time Super Bowl champion, corner for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Bryant McFadden.
So just to get us started, out of curiosity, did you have any big thoughts on the draft this year? I know it was a pleasant surprise for me, at least, as I was saying earlier, that Najee Harris ended up falling to us, because I thought for sure, he was going to be gone by the time it was our turn. The Dolphins or somebody was going to snipe him. But in reality, we managed to wait on the line. What were your thoughts?
It worked out. It worked out perfectly for the Steelers. Going into the draft, I think the 2 biggest positions of need for the Steelers would be running back and O-line. And being able to get the top running back that was available in the entire draft in the first round was huge, because like you said, there were so many other teams that were trying to associate themselves with Najee Harris. Steelers didn't have to move anywhere. They didn't have to give up anything to land the guy that they wanted all along. And anytime that happens in the NFL draft, you feel like you won. And I think the Steelers definitely won in the first round.
Yeah, I completely agree. I couldn't have said it any better. Speaking of in the first round, I think there was a lot of debate with fans. We were saying earlier, everybody kind of wants to play GM during the draft with their mock drafts and everything. How did you feel about the offensive line situation? Did you feel like we landed a good group of guys for this year?
Well, I think when you look at the offensive line, there are a lot of holes the Steelers have to fill based on what we saw last year and the year before last. Some of the usual faces that we've grown accustomed to watching in Pittsburgh are no longer there. You got to fill the holes at both tackle positions, of course, center with Pouncey deciding to walk away. And those were huge pieces, for the success on the offensive line, the continuity. So many people felt like best case scenario, right, in the second round, the Steelers would address the offensive line concerns. The organization decided to go another position on the offensive side in tight end, and Pat Farmu, I think it's how you pronounce his last name, from Penn State. Talented tight end. Clearly wasn't the best tight end in the draft. That title was held by Kyle Pitts, who went top 4. But he's a do-it-all type of player. And the thing about the Steelers, they went out and addressed the tight end position that could be a huge success for their offense if Pat develops to be the player that we all believe he will be. And then in the 3rd round, they went out and got a versatile lineman in the 3rd round as well, from Illinois. So depending on who you're asking, I felt like anywhere in the 3rd or 2nd round, we would see an offensive lineman named called, but they decided to do something to do the opposite. Many people felt like you go get Najee in the 1st round, 2nd round, you got to go get offensive lineman. You got to go get offensive lineman. The Steelers decided to kind of work in a different direction, went tight end and then offensive lineman in the 3rd round. And I love the player from Illinois. I think his last name is Green, if I'm not mistaken. The mauler from Illinois, plays center and played guard, can play either position. And I think the Steelers will utilize him in whatever way is better for the team.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Kendrick Green, you were right, is a very versatile player, and I feel like he's such a huge addition to the team. I know pleasant surprises all across the board. We got Quincy Roche, who fell farther than a lot of people expected too. Along those lines, is there anyone that you could think of that you wanted to see us draft that maybe we overlooked?
When you look at the offensive linemen, it was a very, very heavy, deep O-line class. You had Creed Humphrey, the center from Oklahoma. Myers was another center, if I'm not mistaken, from Ohio State. So many other guys that I thought the Steelers probably would land. But the thing that they did with Green is that Green can play guard or center. You know what I mean? So if you have an issue at the center position, you can insert him, and eventually he could be your center going down the line in the future, right? But if you're okay at the center position, and I think the Steelers might feel like there might be okay, granted, Camp would have determined some of the questions at the interior spot on the offensive line unit. But if you're okay at the center, Green can play either guard position. You know what I mean? So the thing about that selection, they kind of got 2 players in one, because he can play either guard, left or right, or center, and excel at those positions.
Yeah. So going off of drafting and the draft experience, to talk a little bit about your draft experience. You got drafted from Florida State. You went in the 2nd round. I know I've heard and seen interviews in the past where you were a little, not as excited about that. You thought you were going earlier. So clearly you had a phenomenal career, lots of success, lots of exciting things. I mean, 2 championships, unheard of. What would you, in retrospect, tell some of these guys or recommend to these guys who didn't go as early as they wanted, or, didn't see the results they wanted? What would you recommend for them, or what would you say to them?
Use that disappointment or the letdown, to say the least, when you look at where you thought you would go in the draft, as a motivational factor for you. Continue to use that as fuel for your engine. Because I say this all the time, there are only a handful of players that are happy at where they go in the draft. Maybe the top 4 to top 5 guys in the draft. Every other player feels like they should have gotten drafted higher. That's just the nature of the game. If you went top 10, you probably felt like you should have been number 7 or number 6. If you went number 20, you probably feel like you should have been 15 or 14. You know what I mean? So that's just the nature of the game when it comes to the draft, because leading into that process, you're hearing so many different speculations associated with your name that you may go here, you may go there, you may go at this spot, you may go at that spot. And when it doesn't happen, you feel instantly disappointed. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I would tell draft prospects, wherever it is that you got selected, it's a blessing. You're an outlier when it comes to the game of football, because not too many people will get a chance to get drafted. Not too many people will get a chance to sign a free agent deal. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just to be able to get a free agent deal as an undrafted free agent is a huge accomplishment, because there's so many people don't even get that opportunity. So take advantage of the opportunity. But whatever it is that led to a feeling of disappointment the night of the draft, use that as motivation.
Yeah. And I actually remember hearing you say that. So I, totally agree with that. Fuel to the fire, keep that going. So going off of that, you played for the Steelers and you had the opportunity to live in Pittsburgh. Very fun city. There's lots to do there. The fan environment's insane. I mean, I'm sure you know that. They love their Steelers. What were some of your favorite things about Pittsburgh? Favorite restaurant, just in general? What did you love about being a Pittsburgh Steeler?
Oh man, just like you said, the season. Like during the season in Pittsburgh, the city goes to a whole nother level, especially when you're winning. I mean, the food tastes different in the restaurants. It tastes better.
Yeah.
The social life is different. It's better.
Mm-hmm.
When the season is going, especially you're winning, people always recognizing who you are because the fans, they're so dialed into the roster, the personnel. Anytime you go somewhere, people, want to dap you up or give you a hug or say something positive to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that means a lot because there's so many professional organizations that don't receive that same just due, in the community. So me personally, some of the things that I remember, I might show my age a little bit, but I remember High Tops that was right across from PNC Park was a nice little bar we all used to go to in Pittsburgh, either, after a game or leading up to a game. Margarita Mama's was another spot. I think it was on the south side, if I'm not.
Yes.
No, it's not the south side. What was the area called over there? Was it Margarita Mama's on the south side?
I think that because it's not there anymore, but I have never been there, but someone has brought this up recently. So it's really funny you said that. I think it is on East Carson Street in Southside.
Yeah, East Carson. And then JoJo's, the 24/7 restaurant that was open, 24/7, or late night. I know it used to be open late night. JoJo's a breakfast spot. Over there in the Strip District, you know what I mean? Had a lot of different little spots we used to hang out. You go on the south side. Cheesecake Factory was a nice little hangout spot for us as well. Like I said, the city, it hits different, during the season. You know what I mean? And anybody who lives in Pittsburgh, they know exactly what I'm talking about. The off season is cool, but right when football is starting to surface around again, everything in the city, it feels better. It tastes better.
Oh yeah, it's a new city. I mean, it just like lights up. It's crazy. Everywhere you go, it's Steeler this, Steeler that. So,
and I can tell you this much, I feel some type of way with the NFL because if they feel like the NFL, that is, if they feel like Cleveland is an okay city to host the draft, it's only right that you have the draft in Pittsburgh. It's only right.
Could you imagine? That would be a blast. That would be so much fun. So I have a story question for you. I was looking in, hearing some of the things that you did, and I came across a story about before your Super Bowl against the Arizona Cardinals, you guys stayed up a little late playing a card game. And I was laughing about this, how y'all were playing Boo-Ray all night. Tell us a little bit about that. And, what was the meaning behind that? Why'd y'all play that? Were you nervous the next morning? I heard you say, like, I'm not going to tell anyone if this goes south. Like, we're keeping our mouths shut.
Well, the meaning of that story was something that we did every day almost. Anytime we came together, we had some downtime, we were going to find a way to play cards, specifically speaking, the game of Boo-Ray. And that's just what it was, a part of us. We go on a road trip. We can travel to Jacksonville. We can travel to, at that time, San Diego. We're going to play Boo-Ray the entire flight to wherever it was we were traveling to. So the night of the Super Bowl, we did what we usually do. We didn't want to change up anything because it was the biggest game of our life at that time. So we played cards. And the thing about playing Boo-Ray, and playing with a bunch of alpha dogs, guys who are extremely competitive, we all want to win and we all want to enjoy each other. It was a way of fraternizing with each other. So long story short, the game started probably, around between 10:30 and 11 when everybody got done fulfilling their meeting requirements and stuff like that, getting a snack. And the game ended around 8:15 a.m., which is mind-boggling. You know what I mean? We geared to play in the Super Bowl. And we stayed up all night playing the game of Boo-Ray. And the crazy part about the game is the max number of players you can have is 6. But we had another 12 guys in the room that were just spectators.
Oh gosh.
And most of those guys sat and watched the game until the game was over. You know what I mean? So why did we do it? Because we're dumb. We didn't have any sense. You know, we're children, right? But I can tell you this much: I'm happy we won the ball game, because if that would have ever gotten out, that we lost the Super Bowl and the night before the game we stayed up all night. Just imagine the criticism we would have faced. And I get some people tell me this now that have heard the story, that are just were fans at that time, or just gamblers. They were like, yo, we put money on you guys to win and wonder why you guys didn't cover. Because we were big time favorites. I think we were like a 7-point favorite in that ball game. Clearly we didn't cover. But I didn't know anything about covering. I just wanted to win. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, we stayed up all night from about, I'd say 11 to about 8:15 a.m., 11 p.m. to 8:15 a.m. playing Blu-ray.
So who won that game?
Tired. Oh man, we had a few guys that walked away feeling pretty good about themselves. We had a few guys that didn't. But I know Arnold Harrison, my good friend, he was an undrafted free agent my rookie year. We played together throughout Pittsburgh. He had a great night.
We'll take that as he walked away feeling good about that.
Feeling pretty good about himself.
Oh my, that's amazing. And you know, all of those special relationships, I mean, the bond you guys must develop must have been insane. So kind of along those lines, do you have any other memories that came from those relationships, you know, early in your career, during the Super Bowl, whenever?
Oh, no question. I have so many memories, because the thing about the guys that I played with in Pittsburgh, we actually liked each other. It wasn't fake. You know, we didn't put on in the building when we were forced to be around each other. We actually rocked with each other. So we were friends inside the facility. We were friends outside. So it was easy to hang out outside of the facility. You know what I mean? Because we all liked each other. You know, think about trying to hang with someone who you don't really like when you don't have to work with them. It's not going to go well. So yeah, we had so many stories, man. One story for me, my rookie year, we beat Denver for the AFC Championship game. And we party on the entire flight home. The plane is rocking. As soon as we land in Pittsburgh, we hit the streets running. I think we went to High Tops. We went to a club called Dow's. We were off and running. The city just stayed open for us because we're going back to the Super Bowl, right? It's been a long, long time. You know, we're going to the Super Bowl. And to top it off, after a night of partying and celebrating, we decided to go get something to eat at JoJo's, the restaurant I was telling you that was open all night. And JoJo's French toast used to taste so good. Some of the best French toast I've ever had. And I told the guys, because I'm not a drinker. I don't drink, but I can party with the best of them with a sober mind. Like I can go all night. And I told the guys to say, listen, this French toast tastes so good, this is going to really put me under. Because the thing about hanging out all night, if you get a nice meal right before you go home, that sleep is going to really feel like sleep. You know, you take a good shower, you got your belly is full. And I told the guys, I said, listen, y'all check on me in the morning because this French toast is going to hit me real good and it's going to knock me out. It was like, oh, B-Mac. It's like, B-Mac, what up? So long story short, we ate, we go home. You know, everybody went to their spots. We had a 8:45 meeting. My alarm goes off, but I don't realize it. I wake up, it's like 8:52. So I'm already late. I jumps up instantly. I'm like, oh man, I'm tripping. I didn't brush my teeth. I just put on some clothes and I just left. Mind you, this is in late January, so it's pretty cold outside. I just put on the nearest item that I had in my drawer. I don't even know if it was long pants. I just put it on and left. So I'm driving from I was at the Allegheny Center, so right by PNC Park. For y'all Pittsburgh natives who watching us, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm riding past the bridge by PNC Park. I'm speeding. So right now I'm thinking like, yo, the best thing that can help me is if I get pulled over. If I get pulled over, I can legit show the coaches, yo, I got pulled over. I'm late. I'm sorry. Here's my ticket. For whatever reason, I don't see one cop in sight. Maybe they were still out partying from the night before with us. Who knows? But no one pulled me over. So now as I'm getting close to the facility on the south side, I'm thinking, should I just run into a ditch? Maybe if I run into a ditch, I can show, hey, I got in an accident, fender bender. This is why I'm late. But I'm so spooked. I'm like, yo, Mac, if I run into a ditch and I really hurt myself, I'm really gonna be pissed because I might not play in the dang Super Bowl game, right? So I'm thinking about all kinds of stories to say when I get there. Long story short, I didn't get pulled over and I didn't run into a ditch. I get to the south side, I missed the team meeting. So now they've already divided into offense, defense meetings. I walk in, everybody's in there. So I'm the lone rookie who's late, right? I walk in, man, listen, I can't breathe. I'm so spooked. Our Dick LeBeau was like, yo, B-Mac, BC wanna see you in his office. Now, mind you, I've never been in Bill Cowher's office. I don't even know what it looks like. I've never been summoned to come there. So I knew I was in some deep trouble. And I walked in, I'm like, yo, I'm in the head man's office for all the wrong reasons right now. And he looked at me. You know, BC used to always look like an intimidator to me. You know what I mean? Didn't really show any kind of, nice facial expressions. It was just like, he just was always mad. And I walked in, he's like, B-Mac, were you late? I'm like, freak. I'm like, he knows the answer to the question. So I got to keep it real with him. Like, yeah, coach, I was late. He was like, why were you late? I ain't gonna lie to you, coach. I was in the streets, heavy. We were partying. I ate good. I just happened to oversleep. And mind you, I used to always be on time. I wasn't a guy who was late here or there. This wasn't me. And he was like, I'm taking your Super Bowl tickets. I instantly died. I just died right there. What? My Super Bowl tickets? I know my mom, everybody excited about coming. If I don't have any tickets, I won't even play. He was like, I'm taking your tickets. You have no tickets. So I'm like a little child, right? I done put my head down. I'm turning away. I'm walking out of the door. And then he's like, B-Mac, I'm just joking. Good game. and I heard him, but I was like, really? Is he like, for real? He's like, I'm just joking. That's the first time I ever saw him like laugh, right? Because I'm like, I told you he's like an intimidator. Like, right, really? At that moment, I said, hey, at that moment, I was like, I finally made the in crowd. I'm officially in now. The coach joked with me. He wasn't even mad that I was late. And he said, good game. I was like, wow.
Oh, that is so
we were destined to win the Super Bowl after that. I'm like, yeah, we won the Super Bowl.
Oh, I would say so. I mean, think about it. You're a part of such a legendary staff, at that point. Of course, Dick LeBeau's known for his Fire Zone or Zone Blitz, which revolutionized football as we know it. And then you also have Coach Cowher, who, of course, is about to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So absolutely huge. Is there anything that stood out to you with your partnerships with them that have carried with you to today? Is there any words of wisdom that they passed along that you thought really just meant a lot to you and stuck with you?
I've had the luxury of kind of being in football heaven when it comes to the coaching and the mentorship that I've received. Even going back to my college days, I played for Bobby Bowden. And my coach was Mickey Andrews, 2 Hall of Fame iconic individuals. Then I get drafted to Pittsburgh, where my head coach then was Bill Cowher, who's Hall of Fame, Dick LeBeau, who's Hall of Fame. And then when BC leaves, Mike Tomlin comes, who will eventually be in the Hall of Fame, I believe, whenever, he decides to walk away from the game. So I don't know how many players could say they've had the luxury of being coached by 5 Hall of Fame like individuals. You know what I mean? So to answer your question, well, yes, I've learned a lot. I apply it to my day consistently, doing what I'm doing in the media. I apply it to my day consistently, just trying to be positive and proactive. One of the more influential things that Dick LeBeau used to say to all of us before every meeting, he would walk in and he would say, it's a great day to be alive, man. And at one point in time, it became redundant. But then when you started to understand what he meant by that, something as simple as saying for our ears, it's a great day to be alive, for us to hear that. But he said it every day. And think about how we were feeling as younger players in our prime years around the month of November, December, where we've been doing the same thing every day. And it's tiring mentally and physically. And we're sitting in the meeting room like, man, we got to go through this again. And he walks in, perky. It's a great day to be alive, isn't it, man? Like, yo, right? Because guess what? Someone don't have the luxury of saying that, because they didn't wake up. And that hits differently now, especially going back to a year ago around this same time, this pandemic just kind of took over the globe.
Right.
You know what I mean? So those are things that I kind of say here and there on social media. Like, you never know how that can impact someone's life. It's a great day to be alive. You know what I mean? So little things like that. But yes, there's so many different things here that I took away from all those superior individuals that I apply now to my life daily, and I will forever do so.
So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. We have had an absolute blast. Before we wrap up, I did want to ask a little bit about your podcast and your show on CBS. Just, you know, give you a little shout so everyone knows where they can hear and see you. And, you know, you could give us a little bit about that real quick.
Yeah, I'm co-host of the podcast called All Things Covered with my cousin, Patrick Peterson, a newly signed Minnesota Vikings player. We just decided the pandemic kind of made this thing surface, become a reality. It was the ideal I brought to him, and then the ideal that I brought to CBS. And they told me, run with it. And we've been running since September of last year. Some of the more notable Pittsburgh individuals that we've had on, Juju Smith-Schuster, Mike Tomlin, Jerome Bettis, Mel Blount, and we will continue to add more Pittsburgh personalities onto our show as guests as well. But those are some of the more notable Steelers that we've had on. Some other coaches, Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher, Kirby Smart, Tyrann Mathieu, DeAndre Hopkins, Shaquille O'Neal, Odell Beckham Jr. We had the rapper Fabulous, if you're a rap listener, Joy Taylor, Chanel West Coast, Anelius Williams. We've had quite a few different personalities, you know.
I'd say
show.
so.
There's quite a few. So definitely.
So that's been going good. And then you can follow me and catch me on CBS Sports HQ, talking football, you know, recapping the draft, getting ready for the upcoming season. It's going to be huge next week because the schedule will release. And I also do gambling insight, you know, fantasy insight as well. So my social media handle name is BMac_, all three platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. They're the same name. That's where you can find me.
Love it. Well, thank you, Jen, so much for taking the time. This has been an absolute blast. So we appreciate your time here on YINZERITAS.
Yeah, it's been an honor.
Hey, anytime you guys want to have me, I'm cool. I'm down. And we need to go ahead and trying to promote the NFL to bring the draft to Pittsburgh, because if they can have the draft in Cleveland, really?
Come on.
Yeah, really? Like Cleveland?
Wow, what a pleasure that was talking to him. I mean, not only did we hear so many funny jokes, but we also I got hungry hearing about the French toast. I loved that. He's just such a genuine, great guy. I'm really glad we had that conversation.
Oh, for sure. It was such an honor to meet such a legend for the Steelers and for the football brand in general. I mean, think about the fact that he started broadcasting as a player. He's just incredible. Yeah. And so grateful we got to hear all those stories about Dick LeBeau and Coach Cowher. Couldn't think of a better episode too.
I know, it was great. And, you know, I really, really enjoyed hearing his kind of motivational side, right? Like, every single day, you're lucky, like we're lucky. I love that positive energy. You know, he clearly fed off of that from his coaches, his, you know, teammates, and now he's projecting that out into the universe, which is always such a great thing. You know, as he mentioned, you can check out his new podcast and his show and, you know, continue to keep up with him on social media. He dropped his handles earlier. I also loved hearing what he had to say, especially with all these guys in the draft. I mean, you know, you got to take a step back, right? Like, oh, I didn't go first round, I went second round. You know, it's a God-given talent, and you're very, very lucky that you got drafted. And I think he put that perfectly. Use that as fuel to the fire, right? Keep working, keep going, be thankful that you had the opportunity. You know, I really liked that. That really hit home to me.
Oh, yeah. And I think it can resonate with anybody. You know, we were talking about with COVID and everything, what's been happening in the world. We all need a little positivity. So, you know, reflect on yourself and look at it that way too.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, I think it was great. I mean, I am super excited for our next episode. This was such a fun episode. Episode 3 will be even more fun, if that's possible. Not sure if it is. But make sure, if you aren't following us on social media yet, be sure to follow Yinzer Crazy Show. Follow myself, Jane, and Taylor. We have Instagram and Twitter, so be sure, to look for us there. If you haven't, also be sure to listen to the Yinzer Crazy podcast. They have great guests, and they're always doing fun things. So be sure to check them out. That's posted on their Twitter account, Facebook, Instagram. It's on YouTube. Our show's on YouTube as well. Be sure to subscribe to us. Keep us posted, comment, interact with us. We'd love to hear what you're looking for in the next show. Tag some guests. We want to know who you want to hear from. So, keep us entertained. We're entertaining y'all. Y'all entertain us. Connect with us on social media. We love that. And thank y'all for listening and tuning in. And be sure to be on the lookout for our next guest and our next episode of Yinzeritas.
I know Yins are crazy, but so am I. #1 sports site in the Berg, let me show you why. The latest stories and unbeatable podcast with your favorite athletes. You know you can't pause that. Super Bowl, World Series, Stanley Cup champs. Rising stars, Berg personalities for the fans. We love our city, always Pittsburgh proud. When you're at your job or while you got your cell phones out. Breaking down the touchdown, goals and home runs. Predictions and interview, who does it like us? No one.